So hello everyone. Thank you for being here today, and thank you, Michael, for joining us today as well. I'm very excited about today's event for sure. It's a play the game event where we will see Michael showcasing an amazing and promising game for sure called Star Atlas. He will let us know a little bit more about what the game is about and hopefully engage with you if you have any questions, any comments. Let us know in the comments if you're either watching on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever you're watching it. So thank you very much for being here. Let's hope this is a fun event for all of you guys. And well, let's get started first with, if you're not familiar with the BGA, I will introduce the alliance first, and then we can move on to Michael introducing himself and presenting Star Atlas as well. So first, um, let's talk a little bit about the Blockchain Game Alliance. The Blockchain Game Alliance, or BGA, is an organization committed to promote blockchain within the game industry. Our goal is to spread awareness about blockchain technologies and encourage the adoption by highlighting their potential to foster new ways to create, publish, play, and build strong communities around games. We're also strong advocates for diversity and more inclusivity of women in the industry. We provide an open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge and collaborate, create common standards, establish best practices, and to network. So these are some of the activities that we usually do. Some networking, researching and reporting, representing blockchain game companies, and advocating for blockchain within the game industry. So thank you very much to all our sponsors, AMD, Interactive, Illuvium, One Way Block, Star Atlas, Gift Games, Tevira, The Empire DAO, Splinterlands, Ubisoft, Saya, Fear, Gameloft, DNA Cat, Starmon, Mirror World, Dogami, Decimated, Immutable, Boson Protocol, Non-Fungible Corporation, Tesos, TriumphX, Anarchy, Digital Entertainment Asset, Autonomous Worlds, Vulcan Forged, Game Exchange, Consensus, Gamer Hash, Next Type Foundation, Polygon, Animoca Brands, Polkadot, Drops, Yoshi, HackerNoon, The Cryptomon Company, Dabrader, Chromia, Algorand, Sushi, Dacoco, Cartesi, Simplex, Contribune, NFTB, Bitcraft Ventures, Fracture Labs, RCT AI, Kardashian, Chain Guardians, OWB Software, G2A, BlockRock Capital, PT Metaverse Indojaya, uh, Unix Gaming, Win.com, Super Evil Megacorp, Criterion VC, Meta Game Hub DAO, Binance NFT, Gems, Meta Knights NFT, Tetheon Gaming, Aurori, Mobox, Decentral Games, Fight Universe, Tilting Point, Mythical Games, Wax, Addictive, and Corpo. There are a lot of sponsors. Thank you very much for supporting what we do. And thank you also to all our members that are companies or individuals in games and gaming companies, chains and protocols, developer solutions, esports, press and media, and many others. So thank you very much for being here today, because this is a very special event and part of all the events that we usually organize. There are interviews with industry leaders and video games executives, collecting NFT series, women inclusive dedicated events, workshops on several topics, new members presentations, free speaking opportunities and conferences, and the BGA demo days that are usually at the end of the month. So without further ado, let's start with today's event. So Michael, the stage is yours. Please introduce yourself first, and then tell us a little bit more about Star Atlas.
LD, thanks so much, man. Really great to be here with you guys. That is indeed quite the list of sponsors that you have there. I think we've been a sponsor for just about a year now, and we really appreciate the work that you guys are doing in advocating for the industry. So thanks again for having me on. Excited to talk a little bit about Star Atlas. My name is Michael Wagner. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Star Atlas. And, we originally announced the vision of this product just a little over a year ago. January 9th was our debut to the public with our initial announcement. And the general premise here is that we are building a grand strategy, space exploration, massively multiplayer online game. One of the core differentiators that we're bringing to the industry is that we're building out to so-called AAA quality gaming. So highest quality, best-in-class experience across graphical fidelity, game design, economics, lore, background, story, all elements of this game are intended to create a truly immersive and enjoyable experience. And I would kind of preface the conversation today with, what we're building is a very ambitious vision. We have a long-term approach to this, and it will take a substantial amount of time to deliver the full product and the full vision. However, our general strategy and approach is to release iteratively over time so that we create these engaging gameplay experiences over time. And also deliver on some of the economic promises, the financial incentives that are only possible because of our open Web3 based implementation. So using things like non-fungible tokens, NFTs across our economy. Virtually every observable object within the Star Atlas universe is something that can be owned by a player. That includes things like ships, it includes land, buildings and structures, crew members, components. Again, virtually everything that exists within this universe is going to be owned by somebody. The second component here, though, that I would elaborate on a little bit is that the bigger vision for Star Atlas going into the future is this underlying, really hot topic right now, this concept of the metaverse. And, just to put it kind of succinctly, I think of Web3 as being the next evolution of the internet, in which infrastructure and architecture are owned by the people that are providing those services, as opposed to looking towards centralized services to provide things like data storage and web access to people. This will be owned by the people themselves. This is very much our underlying philosophy and our ethos that we support, and also we think is consistent with the ethos of cryptocurrency in general and blockchain in general. The future of the metaverse means that there are going to be open opportunities for people from all over the world to participate in our economy, which we treat very much like a nation state, kind of like an independent sovereign country, which means the considerations for us in terms of economy are very similar to those of the way that, say, governments operate and central banks operate, with the differentiation that these decisions are going to be enabled and governed by the community at large through the decentralized autonomous organization that is going to be driving decision-making in the future for Star Atlas. So all of that said, we are here on a game demo day. It is our highest priority for now. We are thinking about the potential of the metaverse in the future, but what's most important is that we create this very entertaining and engaging gameplay experience for people to get introduced to the potential of this new paradigm that is Web3 gaming and the underlying financial incentives possible there. So I do want to walk everybody through what our current product offering looks like. But before I do that, I just want to share a little bit of a glimpse of what the future of Star Atlas looks like. And I'm going to do that just by sharing a video that we released towards the end of last year. This is a pre-alpha gameplay video. I would also mention here, we are building on multiple parallel tracks. One of those is in Unreal Engine 5. And Unreal Engine 5, I think, a lot of game demos are coming out now. It is, in my opinion, the absolute future of gaming. You get cinematic quality experiences, and it again, a true sense of immersion into your interaction with a game environment. So I'm going to share that video first. I'm going to share a few of the kind of rough renderings that we have of an upcoming module that we'll be releasing this year that we call the Showroom. And then I'll get into what we presently have on our marketplace, and the second track, which is this mini game concept, which will be rolling out also iteratively, but at a slightly faster rate than we are going to be delivering the Unreal Engine experience. So I'll start here with the video, and we do have a number of videos on YouTube, so highly recommend checking us out there. We have a cinematic trailer that we released, a Pierce X4 studio trailer that was also in Unreal Engine. This video I'm about to share now, and a number of additional pieces of content. So without further ado. So once again, just giving you a little sense of what the quality and graphical fidelity is going to look like going into the future. I'm very excited about this upcoming showroom module. It's, we have an anticipated release date sometime in Q2 or Q3 of this year, and there will be an emphasis on multiplayer implementation. So while it's not extensive gameplay going into the future, it is kind of the first opportunity to socialize with other players inside the world of Star Atlas. What you just saw was a scene from when a player would walk up to one of the stations and call in one of their assets. So this was the Visus Envoy, a ship that we designed in-house. Of course, all assets in our game are designed in-house, but calling that ship into the landing pad, and there will be some other fun components to that showroom. But again, I think a major emphasis on being able to socialize in this first immersive digital environment. I am going to pull up here as well just a couple of additional rough renderings, as I mentioned, from that same showroom. And I apologize here for, I'm not sure what the streaming quality looks like. And this one that I'm about to share is actually streaming through Dropbox. So I don't believe the quality is great, but hopefully it'll give you some indication once again of what we're building here. These are all very short clips, but just directly pulled from Unreal Engine. This is player perspective running around the showroom. And then this is just leveraging the default mannequin model. What we're going to demo here is just some of the alternative sizing or scale of players, or player models rather. All right, so just some fun stuff there. LD, I would pause for a moment if there's, I don't see any comments out there, but maybe just mention that if there are comments or questions, happy to jump into those at any point. Or LD, if you have any questions directly, happy to respond to those as well.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would like to remind anyone who's watching that if you have any questions that you would like to Michael to address today, let us know in the comments. Either if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Sorry. So any questions are welcome. This is the time for you to actually engage with Michael in this live presentation. So Michael, I have a short question before. So it's a multiplayer. But can you? Oh, and I'm not sure if you're gonna tell us a little bit about this in the future, well, shortly. But can you tell us a little bit about the gameplay itself? How will it work for as a multiplayer?
Yeah, well,
and I think it's related to this question actually, to Winston. So we can add this to the question as well. What are the plans for the content?
Yeah, it's MMO, right? So really the entire basis and foundation of this platform is to enable social interaction with one another and create this multiplayer experience with, multiple concurrent users in a seamless instance or environment and world. So, a lot of this, I'll be honest with you, is still in early R&D for us. Precisely how we're going to execute on that. So I can't speak to it extensively, but it is a cornerstone of what we're building. And so definitely one of the areas that we want to make sure we get right. I would mention, so the ship that you saw, that was a mid-sized ship across our asset line. And we have ships that range from extra small that are, 3 to 5 meters long. We have Titan class ships that range in the 7-kilometer space. And so those 7-kilometer ships that are essentially city size, as you can imagine, need to be able to accommodate many players, hundreds of players. And so we're working through on how that will technically be implemented, but it's certainly our plan. And the other part of this is that we have a heavy emphasis on guild or in our nomenclature, we call them decentralized autonomous corporations, kind of playing to the, the crypto concept of DAOs. DAX actually being the genesis of the entire concept of DAOs. For those that maybe weren't aware, the idea of a DAC came out by Dan Larimer back in 2014, I want to say, or 2013, and saw that emerge. DAX evolved into the concept of DAOs, which we saw the first release of which on Ethereum with the DAO, which ultimately, unfortunately, went on to get compromised and led to the Ethereum fork and Ethereum Classic. But nevertheless, I think where we're at today in the underlying premise of what a DAO is going to be capable of accomplishing is substantially different than what it was back in those early days. So really, really interesting just to see the evolution of the industry and ideation of decentralized governance over time. The point being, though, that we do foresee massive collectives of players collaborating on executing operations across the game. So to get a little bit into gameplay, there's many different career paths that someone can take. I think we have somewhere around 28 different career paths defined today, but that would include things like just exploring space as a data runner and discovering new territories. And there's, I guess, a quick footnote here is that every activity across Star Atlas has some economic or financial incentive component to it, which was delivered upon with one of our two tokens. I don't necessarily need to get deep into those today, but it's a dual token ecosystem. Atlas is our currency of the universe. All financial rewards are paid in Atlas or denominated in Atlas. And virtually every one of those activities also is operated essentially as a miniature business of sorts, which means there are operating costs and expenses associated with those as well. If you want more information on this, we have a really great game economic and token economic white paper that we released last year. You can find that on staratlas.com along with our original white paper. And so the second token naturally is our governance token, and we call that Polis. So you can be navigating the stars, exploring space. Your costs in that case would be things like feeding your crew members or refueling your ship and repairing your ship over time. You can go be a fighter. You'll be a pirate. We have a really cool hardcore mode that we've envisioned across our security zones within this universe. So there's 3 different security zones: the kind of low risk, no risk security zone, in which you can't be attacked by other players, a medium risk zone, and then this deep space area, the high sec area of space, wherein the vision today is something that a term that we coined called play for keys. And the envisioned technical implementation is to have assets delivered effectively in escrow to a smart contract, and then have this be highly consequential. So should you lose an engagement in deep space and your ship be destroyed, that asset is actually permanently destroyed. So NFT destruction over time based on participation in deep space. Now, what we've done is aligned the kind of income potential of deep space with the risk. So risk and return is kind of the underlying principle there. And so all of the rarest materials, all of the highest earnings potential, all of that exists out in deep space. It's not a requisite to go out there, but we do think, once again, these player collectives are going to form bands of pirates of sorts to navigate deep space and kind of attack other players out there. Another core gameplay mechanic is one of mining operations and land ownership. Land ownership would consist of both productive land and cosmetic land. You can think of cosmetic land as living on, say, central space stations, where maybe it's a player habitat and you get to hang up your other NFTs as posters or displays or models throughout your unit. It would also consist of things like commercial enterprise and industrial enterprise. Commercial being maybe it's a Nike wants to enter into the Star Atlas universe and set up shop where they can sell not only digital NFTs, but in the future potentially sell physical goods that would be delivered direct to a person's physical residence. Then there's the productive component, which is mining operations and farming operations. Also, I want to emphasize here, it's critical for us to establish this robust and sustainable economy, and we do that with extensive economic modeling that leads to a circular ecosystem. So once again, not only are there costs, but we deliver to all of our players the means of production. And so players are going to be producing the goods that enter into the supply chain that other players need to be able to continuously participate. Mining itself is going to lead to the extraction of ore and materials that can be refined and ultimately go into the production of new ship NFTs. So we envision this, balancing mechanism, core economic principles of supply and demand, wherein if players are looking to purchase a particular type of ship that we no longer sell because they've been sold out historically, then another player can satisfy that demand by going through the production process. It's really a space exploration game. I'd say on par with something like EVE Online, or we get compared to Star Citizen a lot. The biggest differentiator is that the underlying economy is open, it's Web3 based, and has real financial consequence. So that was an extended answer to your question, LD. If there's nothing else there, let me move on now to our what we call the mini game concept. When we kicked off in January, we're building on Solana, by the way. We have Serum integration, a decentralized exchange protocol on Solana as the foundation of our marketplace. Now, when we started being very early on Solana, a lot of the tooling that's available today was not actually available to us. And so we needed to build that from the ground up. In April of 2021, we delivered our marketplace to the community. This was the first robust NFT marketplace to live on Solana. Now, it wasn't intended to be open source. It was intended to be utilized for the sale of our assets. And upon the launch of that, we executed on our first digital art campaign that we called Rebirth. And that was a collectible series of posters, but it had its own novel economic model underlying it, which led to the delivery of in-game assets as rewards based on owning those. So I'll share this. A lot of improvements have happened over the past 9 months, but this marketplace here is not, it's not only a marketplace. It's again the entry point to the game. It's play.staratlas.com for anyone who would like to spend a little more time reviewing this in detail. But just on the overview page, you'll have a little bit of a kind of a roadmap from us here, what's coming up. Presently we do have quite a few features that we've rolled out. I'll just start with leaderboards. This gives some indication of what the current economy looks like. As you can see, we have about $210 million in assets that are effectively deployed within Star Atlas today, and that's ships that are utilizing one of our functions that I'll get into. But you can look at the 3 factions and how those resources are allocated across those. Organizations are coming soon. This is the official Decentralized Autonomous Corporation registration process, which we're going to be delivering with an extensive tool set for those guilds. And then this is a list of individual player leaderboards. Presently, this is all denominated in total asset value, but over time we could see enhancing this by accounting for various progression or leveling throughout the game as well. So there will be more components that go into the model in the future. Just point out quickly here, this is the marketplace. We have ships, as I said, structures. Let me caveat quickly, the structures are not presently on sale. I wouldn't recommend buying any of these structures because these were all deliverables from that Rebirth campaign. So we haven't officially released land, we haven't officially released structures, but there is a section for it. Quite an extensive list of ships. We sold 27 ships over the course of last year. We have another 51 ships that are scheduled for release this year. In total, we have about 140 ships that we'll build as a team, release in our early years, and then once again, the means of production for those ships via blueprint and NFT crafting, those are all going to be player driven in the future. There's collectibles and access passes. Once again, I'd just comment that if you want to look through this, it's play.staratlas.com. Your own personal inventory can be found here. I'm on a demo account. This is a pure Web3 application. We don't actually have any user registration. You connect to our platform just with your crypto wallet. In this case, it's Phantom. We think it's a fantastic web wallet for Solana, and also has things like NFT support directly in the wallet as well. These are some of the NFTs that I own right now. I'll tell you why I own these 4 different resources shortly here. And that is actually on this faction fleet. This was the very first gameplay feature that we rolled out. This came out in December of 2021, so just about 2 months ago now. And the process is relatively straightforward. It's kind of very much like a DeFi application, I would say. It's a ship enlistment. What you're doing here is you're taking your NFT that you own, you're enlisting that to the faction, and you know what I probably do need to do here is purchase some more resources. I might, but let me attempt to just enlist this here. You're enlisting this to the faction, so you're essentially loaning it out to your faction, and you would be managing the underlying resource requirements, which includes food, fuel, ammunition, and ensuring that it's repaired over time. So I'm going to enlist that for that transaction. And while this is confirming, I also just want to point out that there's kind of multiple different I don't know if I'd say definitions, but directions that teams can take in terms of building out a blockchain game. We're taking the most complex, sophisticated, and difficult approach. The easiest is probably to build a game in, say, Unity or Unreal Engine, depending on the quality that you want to deliver, and then look at some implementation of something like NFTs. Now, that's one version of blockchain gaming. You can extend that by saying we also want to create a crypto-based economy, which we've also done. So the introduction of a token as the underlying currency within that world and driver of the economy. That's another step further. And then the approach that we're taking is actually to create what we believe will be a true censorship-resistant, fully decentralized product going into the future. And that's to actually build gaming logic that lives on chain. So the functionality that you see here, the management of your resources, that's not taking place inside a game engine. That's taking place on Solana. So typically what you'll see over time is these resources deplete. You'll go in, you'll manage your fleet. You can resupply them as necessary. You can also see the time to depletion here, so you can kind of time your gameplay around that. If you want some deeper information about the fleet itself, burn rates, how frequently it's been resupplied, consumption over time, all of this data on each of those 4 different resources is available. And then this third tab here allows you to add ships or remove ships as appropriate. Now, what this does is actually enables our players to start earning Atlas today. As you can see here, I'm actually earning 0.851 Atlas today off of this one ship. This was a $20 ship at inception. And so it's a little bit of fun, but it also starts to enable the true economy of Star Atlas today, driving utility to these NFTs, which I think is really critical to the success of NFTs in the future. I think there's great ways that you can add utility to things like collectibles going into the future. And things that we're considering with our collectibles are access to special events, access to unique drops. There's just a variety of mechanisms that we can introduce that are restricted or kind of gated by ownership of that NFT itself. It might mean that if you own one NFT, you actually get access to a concert that's taking place in Star Atlas in the future. So, LD, that is really where we're at today. We've got a very exciting year ahead of us that's been planned out. We actually have a town hall which we produce every 2 weeks, in which we provide community updates, introduction to team members, a little kind of backstage access to all things that we're building at Star Atlas and the people behind it. So that's taking place in about 25 minutes. So I'd invite you all there. That happens in our Discord. So it's discord.gg/Star Atlas. We'd love to see you there. But with that, again, open it up to any questions that are out there.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. It certainly looks great. And there are many people who are expecting for the game to finally release. And well, that leads us to one of the questions that people are having. What is the rough time frame of being able to play the full game? Do you have an expected date?
I mean, I would fully anticipate 5 to 7 years, possibly longer. This is, again, quite a complex product that we're building, and we are taking the most challenging approach of ensuring that we have on-chain logic executed as well. What's cool, as I said, is when you're refueling your ship, you'll actually see that action recorded on blockchain, and nobody else, to my knowledge, is actually building in that fashion. It does mean that it'll probably take us a little bit longer, but the advantage to that is the ability then to truly decentralize this product over time, wherein it's not requisite that we are the core arbiters of all things Star Atlas. What we want to do is enable decentralized participation through the DAO. And have these functions programmatically implemented. So we think the only way to truly do that is to build on chain, and that's the approach we're taking.
Sure, and there's also a question regarding timeframes in a way. So are we going to be able to mine general resources before gameplay comes out?
There is some potential for that. We are, let's see, 21st of April real. To answer that, the latter part of that question, the April 21st date that is on the mini game, that was a placeholder. So I don't expect any form of mining to come out by then. We actually have some updates to this roadmap that, once again, I'll be actually discussing on the town hall. So I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but the major focuses for this year are the release of a new marketplace program that we're creating that will, we believe, improve the user experience and the UI to make it more intuitive to the traditional gamer. Right now there's a lot of influence from decentralized finance and from crypto, from the crypto ecosystem, and we are very proactive in acquiring and implementing user feedback into our applications. And so we want it to feel good, feel a little bit more like a traditional auction house in a video game, as opposed to feeling like you're operating on a decentralized exchange or trading cryptocurrencies, because it is a gaming product. We're also focused heavily in the near term on the official release of our DAO, and then that gets more into things like ship missions, space exploration, crafting, and mining, and going, as I said, these are all kind of iterative steps for us. So we release a feature in a particular format so that we can start to drive some value to the players, create that opportunity for engagement, but then improve that continuously over time.
Okay, awesome. And well, there's also a question from Kyle. The number of solar systems. He wants to know, does the team envision having dozens, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of solar systems happening in the game?
Yeah, I would say virtually infinite. So there's a kind of internal discussion that we're having about this concept of procedurally generated universes, and ultimately that's the direction we would like to take. We have an interesting challenge or conundrum in that what is very important is for us to balance out the economy as well. And given that all resources need to be scarce in nature across this universe, we can't necessarily have an infinite growth in area of space. And the way we think about this from an economic modeling standpoint is to look at things like asset appreciation percentages and to look at player growth numbers. And we try to build, in the short term, we try to build the availability of space around the number of users that we have. We also think it's important, again, thinking about multiplayer, that player collisions exist. So if there's an infinite amount of space to explore, and you never run into another person, it doesn't feel like an MMO. So those are the things that we're trying to balance in theory, depending on the growth of the platform. And I do believe that this, as a metaverse, in addition to being a game, can accommodate, some couple billion users. I think people from all over the world would want to explore this and take advantage of the economic opportunity that will exist here. So, yeah. I see another question here, about giveaways. We no giveaway on today's call, but we actually are quite active with giveaways. We've given away thousands of ships over time. If you're interested in the giveaways, I would say follow us on Twitter, because that's normally where we announce these promotions. And yeah, we get a lot of active engagement through that. And so we very much want this platform to be inclusive. So, we have ships that start at $15. We have ships that go to $100,000. We sold out of all of them in most cases. And so, but we do want to ensure that we can maintain this low barrier to entry for everyone all around the world. this, I think it's probably no surprise to anyone listening in, but actually demonstrated quite well the possibility of attracting the user from like an emerging market or from developing nations. So countries where people actually can experience a greater quality of life by participating in that play to earn model than working a job in the local economy. And there's several cohorts that we think about. There's kind of the investor speculator, maybe the whales out there that are buying assets with or without the intention of playing. There's the play to earn person who sees an opportunity here that's greater than that which is available locally. And then there's the traditional gamer. So presently we're kind of focused on that middle cohort, the play to earner, with the intention in the long term of moving to the marketing a little more extensively to the traditional gamer as we roll out Unreal Engine features. So I think it's important for us to have the content appropriate for each one of those cohorts before we promote it too extensively.
Yeah, and Michael, there's a question, and you already told us a little bit about police. So people wondering about staking. Is it going to happen this month? They're asking, or when is it expected to actually be possible to do it?
Yeah, what I would say is it continues to be our highest and top priority as an entity. So we have a lot of resources dedicated to it right now. We've encountered some interesting challenges in the various frameworks that we're looking at. We have a couple of different protocols or frameworks that we could use to implement governance and staking. None of them seem to be a robust standalone off-the-shelf solution, and so we have to figure out how we can reconcile that and accomplish our objectives there. So I won't actually have more information on what the timeline is looking like until later today. Unfortunately, I'm getting an update from the engineering team later, so I can't specifically answer, but it's our top priority right now.
For sure. And they're also asking about Police DAO.
Same question and same answer.
Question. Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, there's another question here, and where is it? Sorry, I kind of lost it. Okay, here it is. Will Star Atlas have a scholarship non-custodial user feature?
So, what I often say on this, people ask a lot. I think, the scholarship model was a very interesting one to emerge from, once again, from YGG, really, Yield Guild Games and Axie Infinity. In our case, I don't envision us developing out the scholarship model. What I think is really compelling about operating in the decentralized space is that many people are going to be building out protocols and services that we're going to be able to integrate into our game. In fact, it's one of the greatest advantages that we've had in building on Solana is there's an enormous amount of innovation going on there. So things like decentralized insurance and decentralized lending and obviously the AMMs and liquidity pools that exist out there, those are all features that we can directly implement into the game. So certainly see a place for it. Referring back to that kind of investor whale, a speculator cohort, there are a lot of entities out there that are acquiring assets from us and from other projects that don't have the intention of actually engaging in gameplay. Those are the individuals or entities that will want to utilize lending protocols to essentially provide an opportunity for employment or labor to people around the world who maybe can't purchase them or own them. And so, I guess kind of in conclusion, I don't see us building out the program, but I do see a major opportunity there. And I do know that teams are working on lending protocols and lending pools specifically for NFT assets. And I think that will be the access point. And I would hope that it's non-custodial. I think that that's the optimal implementation. We want to operate in a trustless environment. And so to the extent that it's non-custodial, that's the best implementation. And so, I think that will be coming. I'm fairly confident that the protocol will exist. It's just a question of when. And, from our standpoint, anytime we look at utilizing a third-party service, though, the things that we need to consider are user safety and security and confidence in the platform itself. We want to make sure that people aren't getting rugged. We want to make sure that it's been audited, that it's secure, that people aren't going to lose funds because there's true financial consequence here. And we've seen compromises throughout the crypto space, not to mention countless scams out there. So our user security is also very high importance to us, and we want to make sure that anything we bring into Star Atlas is consistent with that.
Okay, awesome. Well, and I think that we have time for a last question today. Then you can move on your you can move your conversation to this town hall that you're having in 15 minutes. So
Right.
the last question will be, I need something that people have been asking about. So I'm gonna use this one, but let's use it as a general question from all of you who are asking the same. So updates on showroom.
Yeah. So that's the I guess just to that was kind of the first component that I was demoing today. The in-engine pre-alpha gameplay trailer was from the showroom. That's the actual footage from the showroom. It's the way we structure teams is we have independent teams working full production in Unreal Engine. We made an announcement last year, but for those not aware, we're working with a co-development team right now. They're called Spearsoft, and they've worked on some major AAA titles. Check them out if you'd like to. But we've presently scaled our production team with Spearsoft as well as our internal team. Spearsoft alone, we have 68 dedicated team members building this studio for us now. We also have other vendors that provide specific services like hard surface work and animations and rigging and modeling. We have, I would say, in total, probably in the neighborhood of 80 to 90 people that are working on the showroom right now, working on ships that will be available in the showroom as well as the environment. So that's external from what we have as another 150 or so employees that we've scaled over the course of the year that are internal to us. So it's coming this year, and again, I guess the best timeline I can provide right now is most likely Q2, Q3. But I always caveat that and say we are never going to release something just because we announce a date. It needs to uphold our quality standards before we'll ever push it out. And again, security and safety is highest importance. So assuming we satisfy all those requirements, it's certainly our priority and objective to get that out to everyone.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Michael. And I think that will be it for today's event. As Michael was saying, you can go then to the town hall that's happening in 15 minutes. So make sure to follow them on Discord to join this conversation as well. There were a lot of questions that went unanswered, but hopefully you can have time for these questions in this town hall event. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone to everyone for being here today, for Michael especially. If you don't follow the Blockchain Game Alliance, make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. We usually host weekly events on blockchain games, blockchain gaming companies, and other topics related to the metaverse, NFTs, play to earn or play and earn games. So make sure to follow us to keep updated on the next events. We're having a very special event with one of our sponsors next week. They will be presenting another game, another blockchain game. So very excited about it as well. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. Make sure to follow us and to follow Star Atlas, of course, to have more updates.
My pleasure. Let me add also the town hall is a place for live Q&A as well. So we always have a section of time allocated to community Q&A. So yeah, definitely join us there. But LD, really appreciate the time. It was great being on with you and look forward to doing this again soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Have a great weekend.
You as well. Take care.